everyone, it's Cara. Welcome back to the Rambutina channel. Today we are doing the pumpkin bunting tutorial. So I've already made one little orange pumpkin with the brown stem, and then I also made a taller one, slightly different shape in this yellow mustard colour, and then the pumpkin leaf. So yeah, we're gonna show you how to make the pumpkin, the stem, and then the leaf will be afterwards, and then putting it all together for a little bunting decoration. We'll do that last. So for this project you will need orange yarn. I've gone for like different shades of orange and yellows, but it's totally up to you. All DK weight yarn. And I've got some dark brown for the stems. I'm keeping that the same because this is the only like dark brown I have in my collection, and then I'm going to use a bunch of different greens for the leaves. Again, DK weight, and you will need a 4mm crochet hook if you're working with DK. Obviously if you want to change up the size and make them bigger, you could use Aran weight yarn and use a 5mm crochet hook, etc. You can make them really massive with like a chunky yarn. Yeah, just go with whatever hook suits the yarn. So my kind of rule of thumb is if I'm using 3 DK weight yarn for a kind of amigurumi style project where you need to stuff it, so the stitches need to be quite tight. So for example, 3 lightweight yarn, I'll do a 4mm crochet hook, so just going up one size or just by one number. So 4 medium weight yarn, I'd use a 5mm crochet hook, and so on, blah blah blah. You'll need scissors, obviously, and yeah, we're gonna start off by making the pumpkin first. So what do we need? Yes, this orange yarn. It's this brand of yarn, Crochet. I bought it in a pack from The Works here in the UK for only £3. I think it had 6 balls in the pack, so 150 grams in total, because I believe these are 25-gram balls. Yes. And they're 100% acrylic, but obviously, again, use whatever yarn you've got, and yeah, you could make these pumpkins any colour. That would be really cool too. But if you are in my Discord, you know that for the month of October we're all doing autumnal colours, so this project fits really well for that. So anyway, let me stop blabbering on and let's get into the tutorial. Okay, so I'm going to take my yarn, my orange yarn, and I'm going to leave a long tail to sew at the end, but it's also a good idea to keep a long tail anyway when you're making anything similar to this project where you need to stuff it and all that business. So for this pumpkin, I'm trying to decide what size I want to go and make this one, because this one I made like a standard looking pumpkin. It's quite wide, and then this one was tall. So how I did that was, I think this one I did 10 half double crochets and this one was 12, so I just increased it a bit. Is it 12 or 14? You literally can just customize it to however you like, just chain however many you'd like to make your pumpkin. So I might do, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want to start off with the slip knot and then chain however many you'd like. I might do 10 again. Yeah, we'll do 10 half double crochets, so we need to chain 11. So just however many stitches you want to do plus 1 to work as our like turning chain. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's pretty small. I might do 12 actually, so we'll do 12 chains plus 1, so 13 chains in total. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, yep. So yeah, just do how many chains you want plus 1. And then we are going to jump straight into this chain here, so your second chain from the hook, Okay, I'm sorry if the lighting changes a lot in this video. The sun is out and directly into my face. So we were making a half double crochet into the second chain from the hook. So yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up your yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And I'm going to continue making half double crochets all along this chain. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so we've got 12 half double crochets, and we are going to chain 1, turn our work, and half double crochet into that first stitch, and we're going to go into both loops, just normal half double crochet all the way along. So yeah, this is a really simple pattern, really easy, beginner friendly, because we are just making a half double crochet rectangle, and then we're going to sew it together to make a little pumpkin. So yeah, just continue half double crocheting in all the stitches along. So we chain 1, but it doesn't count as a stitch, it's just there for height, and so we can see our stitch better later when we come around to do the other side. So yeah, I'm just going to continue making 12 half double crochets, really simple, and I will be back to show you where I'm going to stop. But again, with this pattern you can completely customize it and make it as long or short as you'd like. Okay, so I have got this rectangle now, and basically I just kept folding it in half whilst I was crocheting to kind of get it to the size I want. So for this dark orange one I made it a perfect square when it's folded, but this one I made it a little bit wider because I want this pumpkin to be slightly wider. So folded in half it measures about 9 centimeters by 7.5. So that's the size I've went for this time, and you want to make an even amount of rows. So I've got 24 rows in total. So we've done our last half double crochet into that stitch, and then we're going to fold it in half like that, so that you are working into this stitch. So you've just finished your row here, you turn your work, fold it like this, and then we're going to slip stitch along these stitches, all of these 12 stitches, to close off this pumpkin. So I'm not going to chain, I'm going to go straight into that first stitch and then pick up the other side and go into the stitch on the other side. So here, I hope you can see that okay. And then I'm going to yarn over and slip stitch, so just pull the yarn all the way through all those loops. So going into the second half double crochet stitch there, and going into the corresponding stitch on the other side and slip stitching. So you should have a stitch in every single stitch. You can kind of see Oh, the light. You can see your previous stitches if you flip it over. That's an easier way to see your stitches. So if I go into this third one, and then I can see here, 1, 2, 3, I know to go in there, and it's like the other side of the foundation chain. So yeah, so we're just gonna slip stitch all along these stitches. With the same yarn, you don't need to cut your yarn just yet. Yeah, and make sure you're not skipping any of these stitches, so take your time doing this so you get every single stitch and you have as many stitches as half double crochets you have. So we're on the last 2 now. Last one, stitch kind of hides from me there, and then the very first where that slip knot is. So just like that, super easy. So now we're going to chain 1 to fasten off. Now we've stitched our pumpkin together like this. Again, sorry for the light. And now we are going to leave a really, really long tail. And then I'm going to turn this inside out because this like bumpy bit we don't want. We want that on the inside. And when we flip it, it already creates a groove in the pumpkin. So like here, it creates one of these grooves already, but you might need to tie the yarn there anyway just to like reinforce that shape, but I will show you that after we've sewn it all up together. So now I've got these 2 tails on this side. I'm going to sew up this end first. So just grabbing your needle, and then I'm just going to go along the side of the pumpkin and just sew it together. So basically I just stab my needle into the sides of the stitches, just go along. Doesn't really matter how neat this is because you won't really see it, but you just want to go in and out, placing your needle to kind of sew it up together. Okay, so then when you meet the other tail, you want to stop sewing, and then we're going to pull on that tail to close up this hole completely. So just pull on it tight, and then we are going to knot these 2 ends together to secure that, and this will really make the hole close up. So just really tug on it. Do 2 knots. So I'm going to use scrap yarn, and I'm glad I did this little project because this was full to the top, and now it's like that, so I can start filling this up again and I don't have to throw it into my other bin, like my other big bin of scrap yarn. this is nice and empty now. So yeah, I'm just going to use my scrap yarn to fill this pumpkin. Actually, don't know if this is going to be enough. This big pumpkin. Look at all that. But yeah, obviously you can use toy stuffing if you've got it. This is just a nice way to reuse your scraps. I know that people might not like how you can see the colours inside if you've got holes, but I mean, you can't really tell. It looks like it's just dark stuffing inside, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so that's pretty enough. I mean, yeah, it's up to you how much you stuff it. I stuffed this one quite a lot, so it's kind of stiff. This one's a bit more bouncy, and this one will be kind of the same. But it's kind of good. You don't want to stuff it too much because then you can't really get the nice grooves. I think that I made a mistake with this one by filling it up too much. Doesn't let you kind of create that shape as well. So yeah, I think that's an alright amount of stuffing in that one. Oh, I forgot my needle was still attached. Okay, so my plan didn't work because obviously you need to have 2 tail ends to tie them together. So what I'm gonna do is cut this here. Just that can work as stuffing as well. Okay, now we have a separate bit of yarn. Now we have 2 tail ends to tie together. Silly me, silly me. Okay, so now we're just going to go along and do the same thing, just sewing the other end of the pumpkin up, weaving our needle in and out into like 1 stitch over and over again till we reach the other side, the other tail. Okay, so now again we're just going to pull on these tail ends to close up that hole. I'm going to make sure they're like roughly even for the next step. So then you want to tie it again. Okay, so then we want to start making these grooves. As you can see, that part where we slip stitched it together has already created a groove for us, so that's alright. And then I'm just going to go around like with the tail ends and just kind of pulling them like that. And you can start to see it makes the little pumpkin segments. So I think there is a good place to put it. And the shape might be a bit funny, you can just reshape it with your hands. So yeah, I want it to go there, so what I'm just going to do is thread the needle with the yarn and just poke it in the bottom and up through the top again. So we've got it ready to make another segment. And then just pull on it. And there you go, it like creates that pumpkin shape. So yeah, just place these wherever you think looks good. I'm going to do maybe one here. I don't like them to be too perfect, I just guess where they need to go. I don't like count it out or anything because I want them to look not perfect. So I'm going to put another one here. Just pop your needle at the bottom and up through the top again. And pull on it. Yep, and then let's use the other tail for a few. Yeah, maybe there. Probably just needs 2 more. Or maybe just the 1. And we just have this really chunky section here. Yeah, I think that's good. Well, we'll see. If I need another one, I can put one in. So yeah, this is super, super easy. It just really helps to keep those tail ends really long for this bit, so you don't have to get any more yarn. You can literally just use what's already attached. Okay, I'm just going to pull on these, make sure they're tight. Looking good. And then let's see, should we put one more here? Yeah, let's put one more in. Like that. Okay, so once you've got like the shape you want, do I need to put one there? Don't think it really needs it. So I'm going to tie any of these tail ends that are left over together just to make sure that shape stays. Like that, and then there's just one here. So now, with these loose tail ends, I'm just going to poke them into the pumpkin to act as more stuffing. So literally just poke it in wherever. You could just cut the tail end, but I'm going to try and see. Aha. So I just use the other end of the needle to kind of poke it in there. Okay, so now we're going to work on the stem. So I'm just going to take some brown yarn and I'm going to make a slip knot. Again, you want to leave a really long tail. Then I'm going to chain 2. I hope you can see this bit, it's very, very small. And then I'm going to place 5 single crochets into the very first chain. So I'm just going to go straight into that first chain, make a single crochet, and make 4 more for a total of 5. And you want to make sure you're crocheting over that tail so that you can pull on it tight afterwards and it closes up that hole. So we've got 5 single crochets. Hopefully you can see that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to just continue making single crochets into each stitch around until I like the size of the stem. So you don't need to count, you can literally just go into single crochets and just carry on single crocheting. Just keep going around and around. And I'll show you, it kind of forms a narrower shape, so there's like a trick to going into the stitches once I get to it. Because the stitches will kind of fall inwards. So still crocheting just into those single crochets. You don't need to count the rounds or anything, literally just single crochet. So now you can see the stitch is kind of falling inwards. So I just stick my hook in, make sure there's 2 loops that you've got on your hook there, and single crochet. I'll try and show that again. So that's the stitch we want to go into. If you just go into it, into the whole thing, and you can pick it up. So then, once you get to the size you like it, I just go into the next stitch with a slip stitch just to kind of finish it off. Chain 1 to fasten, and then again you want to leave a long generous tail like that. And then because it's so small, there's no need to stuff it, but obviously if you were making this on a larger scale, then you probably need to stuff this section. Just pull on that to fasten it off, and then what I'm going to do is grab that tail that we just used at the bottom of the stem, and I'm going to grab my pumpkin, the top of it, and I'm just going to go into one side at the top here, so like that, and then out on the other side of the pumpkin, if that makes sense. You can kind of see I'm doing it like that. So you want to pull it through, and then you want to get the opposite side of the stem, so you can see that we finished off the stem on that side, so we need to kind of ground it down by grabbing a stitch from the other side. So I'm just going to pull that tight again, and I'm just going to literally just go in anywhere on the other side through the stem and then the opposite side of the other tail. So I hope that makes sense on how to sew it to the pumpkin, so it keeps it nice and steady in there. And then I've left these tails just like this at the top of all my pumpkins, so I can tie it on to the bunting later once that is all done. So there you go, you have your pumpkin complete. Let's start making these pumpkin leaves. So I've just grabbed a green DK. I'm pretty sure this is an Aldi DK yarn from last year, but again, just grab any green DK. This one's slightly different to this one. I'm going to do a bunch of different greens like I did the different shades here. Still going to use my 4mm crochet hook, and let's start. We need to make a slip knot. So I am going to start the leaf by making one granny square round. So to do that, I'm going to chain 4. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the very first chain to make a loop. And now we have our little loop. Okay, and then I'm going to make a beginning double crochet, and I have changed my method on how I do a beginning double crochet, so it's slightly different now. If you've watched any of my previous videos, I used to do single crochet chain 1, but now I do a different method which I think is better. So I'm going to go in, it's very similar, I'm going to go into the loop with a single crochet. Whoa! So single crochet, and then I'm going to put my hook into this loop here, so this loop here, and I'm going to do another single crochet. So that creates our first double crochet by using 2 single crochets on top of each other. So that's our first beginning double crochet, and now we just do 2 normal double crochets to finish that first cluster. But yeah, this beginning double crochet method is so much better because we actually now have a visible stitch at the top of that double crochet instead of a chain. So now I'm going to chain 2 for the corner and then make 3 double crochets into the loop. Chain 2 for the corner, 3 more double crochets into the loop. Chain 2 for the last corner and then 3 more double crochets. So we have 4 clusters of 3 double crochets and 4 chain 2 corners on the last one now. So we're going to chain 2. Okay, so after we've chained 2, I'm going to join with a single crochet into that first beginning double crochet. So now you can actually see there's a stitch above it because we did a single crochet. So I'm going to go into that stitch, place a single crochet straight on top of it and chain 1. Then we're going to jump into the next corner space with 3 double crochets. Chain 3, and we're chaining 3 for this corner because it's the peak of our leaf, so we just want it slightly longer. And then I'm going to place 3 more double crochets into that corner space. Like that. So this is the shape we've got so far. Then we want to chain 1 and single crochet into this last double crochet of this 3 double crochet cluster. We're going to single crochet to copy the other side of the leaf. So I'm just going to single crochet into that last stitch there. We're also going to slip stitch into that same stitch to fasten off. And chain 1. So we've got the base of our leaf done. We've got this shape. And now we're going to add these extra bits to the side to create those extra leafy bits. I don't know how to explain this. Okay, so I'm going to grab the green yarn again and slip knot. With the leaf right side up, we're going to work on this side first. So going into the base of the leaf, I'm calling it the base here. So not the side with the 3 chains, but the initial, you can see the very first granny square round is here. So we're going to go into this space here. We are going to do a standing single crochet. So just with your slip knot on your hook, just go into that space and make a single crochet. And I like to bring my loose end over as well, just so it's nice and tucked already. And then we are going to make 3 double crochets into this space here. Chain 2 and 3 more double crochets. You kind of want to pull that single crochet down so it goes all the way to the bottom of this little corner space. And then we're going to chain 1 to fasten off. So you can start to see the leaf forming. We've got one side done. Then we want to turn the leaf around and do the exact same thing on the other side. And we want to turn it around just for this bit, just so we get this nice sharp point to this leaf, because we want to end this section with a double crochet so it's nice and pointy. If we started here and did a standing beginning double crochet, it would be a bit more rounded, so I like to flip it so that we get the exact same shape to this side. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to do the exact same thing again. I'll show you again. We are going to make a slip knot, standing single crochet into the base of our leaf, into that corner. Then we're going to do 3 double crochets into the next corner space. Chain 2 and 3 more double crochets. And that's literally how easy this pumpkin leaf pattern is. Chain 1 to fasten off, and now we have that nice pointy point. So we just got one part of this design that is the wrong side, but I don't think you can really tell. So all that's left to do now is weave in all of these loose ends. Yes, there's quite a few of loose ends for this leaf, but I'm really pleased with the design. And yeah, I hope it looks like a pumpkin leaf. I'll also have a written pattern for all of the elements of this tutorial in the description box below, so don't forget to check the description if you would like to use the written pattern as well as the video. That will all be down there. Okay, so I've got all of my leaves done and all my pumpkins done. So obviously I've only done 3 of each, but you can do how many you like. I'm just making a mini bunting to go in between my yarn shelves, so I'm making it quite small. I'm going to take one of the green colours. This is the King Cole Price Wise double knitting in the colour Forest, and it's the same yarn that I used for this leaf here, and it's going to go in the middle, so I thought I'd pick that colour to make the chain. I just measured in between my shelves and I want it to be around 25 inches, so I'm going to make a chain about 30 inches just to give us some more room, and then hopefully I've got some pins to actually pin it up in between my shelves. So yeah, I'm just going to take the yarn and make a long chain. So make a slip knot and just chain up to however long you need it to be. You could also use twine. I don't have any on me, so I'm just going to make a long chain. Okay. Yeah, it's around 30 inches. I think it's longer. Well, we're going to tie the pumpkins on, so let's put our leaves on first. Let's do the middle one. I was thinking maybe there's a way to kind of loop it around so that it stays in place. So if I wrapped it in twice, loop de loop, then it will stay in that position. Kind of. I feel like it would be a bit more secure than just being looped through once, because then you can kind of lock it into place. Okay, and then now we just need to put these pumpkins in between. I kind of want to do them in ombre order, so I honestly might just tie them in a nice little bow. Okay, so then we just do the same thing where we bring this. Ooh, might have to take the leaves off then to do this. So then we just loop this through again, so it's nice and secure. So there we go, we have our bunting all complete. I need to now just put it up on in between my yarn shelves. But yeah, that is all for today's tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope it was helpful. I hope you were able to follow along. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, thank you so much for watching, hope you're having a lovely day, happy crocheting, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!